If you're ambitious but absolutely hate hustle culture, this video is for you because I've been there, wanting more out of life, but completely and utterly allergic to the 80+ hour work week that everyone seems to think is needed to happen to be successful. And what I'm about to share with you is how I found a better way. So let's dive in. This video is sponsored by Kickoff, but more on them later. Now, just like anyone else, before I built my successful business, I had no success, no successful business, right? In fact, I had my rock bottom moment, which is going to be very different for everyone. For me, I had gone to school for 4 years. I had run out of money. I had a ton of debt. I decided to drop out of college. I had 81 cents to my name in my bank account. I was living with my grandmother in the middle of nowhere, Green Bay, Wisconsin. My boyfriend, who is now my husband, lived 4 hours across the state. I felt lost, I felt lonely, I felt confused, and I certainly felt like I didn't have very much direction. But there is some good news in a rock bottom moment. There is only one way to go, and that is up. So I decided to use what I had. What I had was a love for photography, a roof over my head, a really, really crappy car, some rented camera equipment from a library, and a laptop on a credit card. Long story short, I read a ton of books on how to get started on business. I worked super hard. I worked all the time, which don't worry, I will get to sharing a better way in just a minute here. And you know what? Something good did happen. I built a successful multi-6-figure per year photography studio. So yes, I was able to go from living at my grandma's, dropped out of college, tens of thousands of dollars in debt, to growing my very own successful photography business. However, I did it the way that a lot of people online say you have to do it.
Hustle, 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 grind, grind, grind.
Like literally every book I read, every video I watched, every person I talked to.
You have to work, 80+ hours all the time.
Grind, 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 hustle culture, hustle culture, hustle culture. I say that 10 times fast. And the good news is I built a successful business. The bad news is I was pretty dang burnt out and stressed a lot of the time. In fact, I was shooting portrait sessions during the week, weddings on the weekends. I remember in my 20s, I worked super hard. I was able to pay off all of our debt. I was able to save a lot of money. I was able to buy my first house all in my 20s and pay for our wedding and all of that great stuff. And it was amazing, but I also worked all the time. And I just kept thinking there has to be a better way to do this. And I will tell you, there is a better way to do this, but I do believe that it involves 3 main things. Number 1, a better business model. Number 2, working smarter and not harder. And number 3, boundaries. All right, I'm going to break these down. Let's dive into every single one of these. And really quickly, before we dive into each of these, if you want to learn how to find your niche, how to know which digital product to sell, how to actually make sales and make consistent income from your own digital product, check out my free on-demand workshop. It's the first link in the description below this video. Okay, so the first thing was a better business model. Now, don't get me wrong, being a photographer or a graphic designer or a service provider of some kind is a great business to start with. However, it does require that you trade your time for money. So for me, even though I grew this successful business, I was making really great money. I had my own studio. I had awesome clients. I was known around the country for my photography. I wanted to find something that I could leverage that didn't just make me more money the more hours I worked. And that is actually how I got into the world of education and online digital products. Other photographers saw my studio's success. They wanted to be coached by me, but I quickly realized that coaching was just trading more of my time for money. So that is when I found out about digital products like ebooks, workshops, courses, and memberships. And so I was actually able to take my knowledge, put it into digital products, and long story short, I was able to grow that business to $2 million per year. However, I made a lot of mistakes and I still was working around the clock a ton, okay? I made a lot of mistakes. I wasn't taking my own advice. I didn't have good enough boundaries. I wasn't working smarter, not harder, but I did have the better business model. Hey, quick pause before we go deeper. When I built my very first business, I had just 81 cents in my bank account. I was living on my grandma's couch and I was working at a gas station for minimum wage. Fast forward to today, I have built 3 businesses that together have generated over $9 million in revenue. What made the difference was not working 24/7. It was choosing the right tools and making smart financial decisions. And one of those tools that I wish I had from day one was Kickoff. Kickoff is the #1 credit building app on the App Store and makes building credit faster and easier, no hustle required. Kickoff offers monthly plans starting at just $5. No credit check, no interest, and no hidden fees. Your on-time payments get reported to all 3 major credit bureaus, which can help strengthen your credit profile. In fact, Kickoff users with credit under 600 saw their credit increase by an average of 25 points in just their first month and up to 84 points after a year, just by making on-time payments, which is super easy with autopay. Good credit gave me options. It helped me move off my grandma's couch, start my photography business, and buy my first house at 24. And because Kickoff is sponsoring this video, they're giving you guys 80% off your first month. That's as low as $1 to get started. So click the link in the description below this video or head to getkickoff.com/Molly to get started today. Okay, so now let's jump in to the other two, because when you add all 3 of these up, it is chef's kiss. Okay, so another long story short, after 16 years in the photo industry, I decided to close that business. And this is where I always get asked the question, why didn't you sell it? I never planned on selling it. It wasn't sellable. It was built on my personality. I was able to sell the IP of some of the digital products, so that was really cool. But what I wanted to do was switch to what I'm doing now, because my focus and passion had shifted from the photography industry to online education, which is what I teach now. And I do have a podcast with a series of episodes sharing more about how that all went down. If you want more info on it, you can go to freedomcreatorpodcast.com to check that out. So when I started this business, Freedom Creator, I knew that I needed all 3 of those things. Okay, I knew that I needed a better business model, which was digital products. Check. Okay, I have that. Then I knew that I needed to work smarter and not harder. And I knew that I needed better business boundaries. Now, this is something I don't see really anyone else talking about, but for me, in order to get better business boundaries, I had to do 3+ years of therapy. And I know this is something a lot of people don't talk about, and I wish this was sponsored by like BetterHelp or something. It's not, but I will tell you this: to become a better business owner, to build a life that you really love, to have better work-life balance, I do think for a lot of people, myself included, therapy is a really, really important aspect to that, because a lot of high-achieving business owners are that way for a reason. They're workaholics for a reason. There's something they're avoiding, and that's why they would rather be working. And you might be thinking to yourself, if you're not one of those people, how is it that they're able to get so much done? How is it that they're able to hustle, grind? Well, there's probably something underneath the surface that they don't know about, and they just think that it's a good thing because, at least in the United States with capitalism, it's very much praised to be working all the time, working over holidays, not taking vacation. It's super praised, right? But these things aren't actually, in my opinion, normal. You should want to have some kind of work-life balance. You should enjoy your work and your life equally, or your life even more. I'd love to know your thoughts on this below. But for me, when it came to the boundaries portion, for me, therapy was a huge, huge help. Now, I didn't use something like BetterHelp. I actually sought out like a local therapist, but I have heard great things about something like BetterHelp or all those different therapy apps. Again, this is not sponsored. I just want to be able to share some resources with you guys so that if you find this would be helpful for you, that you can go seek that out and start taking action on it. So the other thing was work smarter, not harder. So with this business, I worked a lot smarter and definitely not as harder. I was able to put a lot of things in place to be able to have the business mostly run without me. And it still thrives and it still grows without me having to hustle, grind, work 80+ hours a week. In fact, after I record this video, I'm going on a 2-week fully unplugged from work vacation, a road trip with my husband. We're going up to the Midwest. We're going to go to the lakes and visit family and friends. It's going to be so much fun. And I'm just so thankful that I figured out how to really build this business with true freedom and true balance. Now, how I was able to do this is every single thing in my business, I look at it through this lens. Can I automate it? Can I delegate it? Or can I delete it? Okay, so when it comes to sales in my business, I have this fully automated. At first, I had it fully automated through an emails and a checkout page, which is what I teach to all beginners. But I've been doing this since 2014. I've gone to the more advanced level now. And now I also automate my sales through an auto webinar funnel. So this means no matter if I'm sleeping, on vacation, traveling, hanging out with friends and family, or working on other projects. Whatever it is that I'm doing, I am making sales consistently every single day. In fact, yesterday we made over $1,800 on a Sunday on a holiday weekend, which is amazing. And the product we sell is a membership, and we use Skool, and we have figured out how to automate most of the process. So I'm able to record the program ahead of time, put it into Skool, that's where it lives. We're able to automate that when the students purchase, they get an email, and so they're able to click a link to automatically join our Skool group, which houses the community, the program, the Q&A calls, all of that cool stuff. We even automate our brand deals as much as possible. When people email in with brand deals, if they email with certain keywords, we use our Help Scout software to give them a tag to say this is a brand deal. We put them in a folder, and then our operations manager can go through all the potential brand deals like once a week or so and sift through them that way. We also automate as much as we can my YouTube channel. I filmed the videos a month or more in advance. We are able to schedule them. And again, where I can't automate, I delegate. So I started this business just myself as a solopreneur like I usually do. I never take loans. I never take investments. I never even really use personal money. I think with this business, the only thing I did do was I used a little bit of personal money to hire an editor right away for my YouTube channel because I really dislike editing. But all my other businesses, when I didn't have money to start those, I start them completely for free. I make sales right away, and I use those sales to grow the business. But once I was making enough money, that's when I was able to hire our customer support person, then our operations person. We just hired a tech person, and we're actually just about to hire 2 content creators for a new YouTube channel that we are creating. That way I am not solely responsible for all of the lead generation that comes in the business. So again, I'm either automating, delegating, or deleting. Now, I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but there have been a lot of times where someone on the team will bring a problem to me and I think to myself, do we even need this? And they might be like, well, no. And I'm like, cool, delete it. Let's not even do it. Like when there's a problem in the business, I think about it. I either wait 24 to 48 hours, and a lot of times the problem will fix itself, especially if it's tech related. Or sometimes it's just like, is this really even a problem? Like, are we creating this problem? Do we really need to be solving this problem? Can we just delete whatever the thing is, right? So through this lens of having the better business model, which is selling digital products, so I don't have to have physical products. I don't need to ship them. I don't need to store them, right? I'm able to just record my educational materials, sell them online. I can create it once, sell it over and over and over. It's not directly trading my time for money, which is such a good business model. Then I'm able to work smarter and not harder by growing a team, by having things like SOPs, checklists, procedures that we follow. We have 1 team meeting per week. We also have a Slack channel called Daily Stand Up where we post a win we had from yesterday, what we're working on that day, and any questions or concerns or things that we want to share. So we're able to stay connected with each other, see what we're working on. And every single month we do a planning meeting, and every single person comes to that planning meeting with what project or projects they're going to work on over the next month. So I am not solely responsible for every single thing we're going to do, how to move the business forward, how to make money, how to grow the business, all that stuff. Not all the weight is on me. Because in addition to them coming up with their own projects, we also have metrics that during our weekly meeting, we share the metrics. So every single person has metrics that go along with their job, and they are in charge of growing those metrics. So customer service is in charge of having a good score in Help Scout, making sure that our customers are getting really good customer service. They're also in charge of retention for our membership. Our operations manager is in charge of making sure the YouTube videos get posted. She's also in charge of making sure that we meet our goals with the money that we bring in from brand deals. And we have a tech person on the team who's responsible for tech-related metrics. And we're about to have a couple more content creators who are also responsible for lead generations, leads to sales, all of that good kind of stuff. And you might be saying to yourself at this point,
well, I don't know. I don't think I could run a team. I'm super ADHD, or I'm super lazy, or I don't have any experience, growing a team. I don't know what I would sell with digital products. Like, I just don't know, right?
Well, I will tell you this. Nobody is born with knowing how to be a leader, knowing how to grow a team, knowing how to manage a team, right? But it is something that you absolutely can learn. In fact, I think that my laziness is my superpower. And I think every single person needs to start to look at their flaws as potential superpowers for their business. I was even voted class clown and laziest by my senior high school class. And I truly believe that those have now become my superpowers to growing my business. So, okay, now you're thinking, well, wait, it doesn't seem like you're lazy. You've built a successful business. Like, how is that possible? Yeah, but the thing is I am lazy. And that's why I'm able to build a team, because I'm so motivated to hire other people to do the work because I'm lazy. I don't want to do it all, right? So start to look at your flaws as positive things that can help you grow the business. Another way that I look at it is I don't like to do the same thing twice. So what I'll do is I will do that thing one time or however long I need to do it until it's working, right? Then I will document that in an SOP, stands for Standard Operating Procedure, fancy acronym for a checklist, and then I will hand it over to someone else. And I see that so often where people are like, I hate making SOPs. I hated making SOPs too until I realized the SOP is the gateway to never having to do it again. You can hire someone who is better than you, smarter than you, faster than you to do the thing that you don't want to do, and they like doing it. And so that is where you can turn your laziness or your ADHD or whatever it is into your superpower. So remember, you don't need to grind for 80 plus hours a week. You can be ambitious. You can get a lot done. You can grow a really successful business working like 4 hours per day, 4 days a week. Sometimes that's what I work. Sometimes I work less. Sometimes I work more. Sometimes I take 2 weeks off like I'm about to, and I can because my business will still not only run without me, but grow without me. So remember, a better business model, work smarter, not harder, and have better boundaries. And I don't think I touched on boundaries enough. So really quickly, what I mean by better boundaries is, you're in control. If you find yourself working 80 hours a week, you need to stop and ask yourself, why? Because it doesn't need to be happening. And that's really why I talked about therapy so much, is because that's really what it is it's like, do you really need to be working 80 hours a week? Or are you just doing it because you're avoiding something internal that maybe you don't even know about? Maybe it's childhood trauma. You don't even know. Going to therapy is the best thing ever. Or maybe you're working 80 plus hours a week because that's been ingrained in you. That's what you think you need to have success. Maybe you don't have a good enough business model. Maybe something's broken, or maybe you are avoiding something. So again, better business model, work smarter, not harder, and have good boundaries. Oh, and one more thing. Sorry, I'm all over the place because I feel like I could make like a 4-hour video on this, but I want to say with the boundaries thing too, if you do have a team or you've had a team in the past and you hate that they're constantly asking you questions 24/7, that's also a boundaries issue. You can tell them, you can ask me questions during our Tuesday weekly meeting. You can ask me questions during your daily stand-up in Slack. So I just want to be clear that that is also what boundaries mean. And again, if you want my full, free, on-demand training of how to find your niche, figure out what digital product you should sell, learn how to grow your following online so you can build a business for consistent income with digital products, go ahead and register for this free on-demand training. It's the first link in the description below this video. And remember, if you started a business for freedom, don't lose sight of that. Okay, be very clear with why you're creating this. Make a Post-it note, make a dream board, whatever you have to do to stay consistent with reaching that goal. Try not to let other people or other noise or other opinions cloud what you know that you want. Because building a business is not easy. Okay, if it was, everyone would be a millionaire. But if you're going to put in the work, you might as well put it in to actually reach the goals that you want to reach. So make the main thing the main thing, keep the main thing the main thing, and you will get there. Now that you know how to succeed without hustling, you might be wondering what kind of digital product side hustle actually works, but how do you do that? Well, it all starts with watching this video next here, because when you pair what you just learned with what's in this video, it's going to be way more powerful. See you in the next video.